Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Rangers Rabble. My name's Brian, and that's my 1990s phone again.
I was going to say, is that what decade have we just transported into?
Is that your cooker telling you your dinner's ready?
Well, do you want us to give you 10 minutes so you can finish your game of Snake?
I just said my dinner, so. But no, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Rangers Rabble. My name's Brian, and I'm joined tonight by Scott. How are you doing?
Not bad. Not bad. You?
Not bad, thanks. Scott,
Did you mean him?
Oh, yeah, I'm okay. There's too many Scots in this place. I'm fine.
And Alex, Statman, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm feeling a bit Scotted out, to be honest.
I kind of said hello, Scott, there, and I was like, oh, I should have been a bit more specific there, but never mind. But hello, everybody, and tonight we're going to speak about the post-match fixtures. We've got the season ticket renewals and anything else that you can think of. Fire it in the comments and we'll discuss it. So, yes, Scott.
Can I just ask, Scotty? Can I just ask you a quick question? Those watching and going to the semi-final, can you let me know if you received your ticket yet? Or am I the only person not to have got their ticket? I need to know. I need to know on a scale of one.
Panic.
Yeah. On a scale of 1 to absolutely cack myself, where am I?
I suppose the other question we've got to ask Scotty is, how's the new gaff looking?
It's the same gaff. It's just with a lick of paint, and let's see what everyone can take the piss out of me now for.
So keep the bit of that wallpaper and stuck it in a frame. Put it in the back wall.
Nice try.
South Wales loyal as usual. Here we go. And I suppose Scott Kerr, the fixtures came out today. Kind of interesting. What did you make of them?
To be honest with you, Brian, it doesn't really bother me because we're going to have to play them all anyway. So it's just try to fit them in depending how far if we can get through on Thursday, isn't it?
Yeah.
See what happens then, because we know the SFA always seem to like Rangers, so and help us quite well. So that should be fine. But no, it's fine. I thought the Celtic one would be quite one of the first wins in, and it's obviously not next weekend, but the following one. And we get, I think it's Ross County midweek, isn't it, before the Hearts at the end? So it's fine. We have to just play every game as it comes. But like we say, we'll take Thursday night first.
Yeah. Scotty, did you think that was the way they were going to go, or did you have any other ideas as far as the post fixtures?
Can I be completely honest and say I hadn't given it a second thought? I think I had a rough idea that we'd end up playing the away teams, that we play away, home, and then as the order that they came in, it doesn't really matter, does it? I think someone made a point that if we drop points against Motherwell, then they can win the league at Parkhead against us if they beat us. But tried to make out that it was some kind of SFA or SPFL conspiracy. But to be honest, if that happens, we've only got ourselves to blame anyway. So it's by the by. I think with the fixtures as they come out, it doesn't really matter because we've just shot ourselves in the foot big time. I think the rest of the season obviously hinges on the Europa League and the semi-final, and as Scott says, the SPFL would love to do us a favour if we beat Braga and maybe move a couple of games around for the semi-final and then potentially, hopefully, the final. I'm sure they'll do that. They like to move fixtures around for other clubs, don't they?
Yeah, well,
yeah, they do.
Yeah. And if everybody can keep us updated, CGM says that watching the B team, we'll need to disinfect it by stick afterwards. Just if anybody can keep us up to date with the score, that would be brilliant. So, Alex, the fixtures, did they fall the way you thought, or?
Yeah, just to follow on that point that they both made about the moving the fixtures. It's not like we're on TV or anything, so not too many excuses there. I thought that the way the fixtures came out, I'm in the same boat as Scotty there. I hadn't really given it a second thought. I knew, likewise, I knew home and away were when it was going to be, and having the fixtures are, they are a matter of, you're going to play these other 5 teams, no matter when it is, and they've earned the right to be there. So in terms of the fixtures, I didn't care what order they come out in, because when you're at a club such as ours, all of them are must wins anyway.
Yeah, and I suppose there's not the usual Ferrari, Scott, care that we're playing a certain team 3 times away or 3 times home this year. It's kind of a fresh sort of, not a fresh top 6, but it's a different top 6 than what we normally expect, isn't it?
As we were saying that last night on the SPL review thing, and it's a change to see different teams in there. Ross County, Motherwell, no Aberdeen, no Hibs, so which is good from my point of view, not seeing Aberdeen and Hibs in there, but that's not a bit difficult, doesn't matter who we play, because Ross County and Motherwell gave us difficult games this season, but like I say, as long as we can get through on Thursday night and we concentrate on a game at a time. The league's still in touching distance. I don't think we'll do it, Brian, but it's still there until it's mathematically possible. It's not, but we'll just take Thursday first of all. That's what I'm looking forward to. I'm not thinking about anything else.
I think that's got to be the case in the league, Scotty, isn't it? You've just got to tackle each game as it comes, and whatever the other fixtures finish, then that's the way it's going to be, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's but it's it's just so different from last year. You know what I mean? It's totally went 180, isn't it?
It has. You're the one taking all my words out of my mouth.
You said nothing after. I was like, well, I better try and get him to say something.
Oh yeah. What? I can't remember what you were saying now. Yeah, the fixtures they are what they are. I think Kerr makes a great point that it's actually nice to have different teams in the top 6. Absolutely delighted and thrilled that Aberdeen and Hibs aren't there. As far as crap clubs go, they're right up there. So we don't have to go play them. As I said, actually, people I think really underestimated Ross County, and they're actually, I think they will cause problems for everyone. They're a disruptor. Yeah. So obviously, naturally, you're hoping we win the remaining games, and hopefully that puts us in with some form of, I don't know, hope for winning the league. Is that going to kill us? Is that going to be too much? If Celtic start dropping points, are we going to be like, ooh, back in there, we just don't think about it and just concentrate on Europe and concentrate on the cup, and actually, for a change, retain the control of the destiny of trophies instead of just gifting them away. That said, I suppose what we do have with the remaining fixtures is a little bit of a decision to make, is whether to start trying something different with the league. I mean, it's a good opportunity in really crap circumstances to be able to do that. Do we start, right, okay, well, I think personally, bringing in fresh players, youth players, we should still be good enough to win the majority. Always going to be your strongest team. Have I cut out?
You're fine now. You're back now.
You're back.
What was it? Where did I get to?
Right at the start.
Bringing in youth players. It should be good enough. Bringing in youth players, it should be good enough for the majority of the.
Yeah, should be good enough for the majority of the games. See when it mentions Celtic, it just cuts out. It just knows. Apart from that game, in which case you always play your strongest team. Is that all right, Brian? Is that enough?
Fine, Scott. Fine. Now, Alec, I don't know if this is everybody's thoughts, but Big Shug says you'll probably go through on Thursday, but doesn't fancy us against the Nappy Rippers on Sunday.
I think the way Thursday goes kind of dilutes the fan base for Sunday. If Thursday we have a good performance and a great result, which in any case is going through, then I think the fan base will be a lot more up for the game. But it's the same every old firm, every single old firm. You go through it. The week before, I don't know if it's anybody else, but you go, I'm a little bit nervous for this game, and then you kind of get closer and think, I think we'll win this, and then you get to the day before and you're right up for it. So you've got to wait until past Thursday because that's where everybody's head should be at the moment. Obviously, it's a monumental game on Sunday as well, but Thursday is so important for us to get through and almost save the season a little bit because the league has gone into a little bit of shambles post winter break.
Yes.
I would say these two games, the Thursday, the game against Braga and the game against the Scottish Cup semi-final, these two games are probably the two biggest games Gio's ever going to have as a manager.
Mhm.
Because if he loses both the games, he's under severe pressure. And so is
To be honest, I think
so is the players, and so is Ross Wilson as well. But if he wins the two games, it flips. Because people start saying, give him a chance, give him a chance. And that's football for you, Scott. If he wins the two games well, it flips. But if he gets beat them, people want him sacked by midnight on Sunday.
Scotty, that's actually a very good point, though, Scotty, isn't it? I mean, there's a lot of people said that these two fixtures coming up is going to hinge on Gio's future.
Do you know? I think a few people have already made their mind up as well. And regardless of the result of the two games, whether long term he's actually still the correct person, and I think we should actually be giving serious consideration to that because what's happening is the complete end of the cycle for this team and the squad. And do we really actually want him in charge of the rebuild? Can he be trusted? I'm asking serious questions. I'm asking serious questions of Ross Wilson and the pair of them coming together. And we can either, I think it's a sad thing because as a supporter and a fan, we have zero say, we have zero control, we have zero input to these things. Or do we? Maybe someone can correct me. I don't know how, but I personally have my reservations. Having, I think no one's going to argue with the signing of Aaron Ramsey. And if we have the chance to make him permanent in the summer, I would in a heartbeat. Absolutely. I know JD is probably trying to hang himself listening to that. But,
he's pulling all three hairs out that he has left.
They're in his ears.
But the majority of signings have been underwhelming, and I've got concerns of the direction and whether these guys can be trusted, because we talk about Ross Wilson and his black book at Southampton. I don't think he was in charge of signings. I don't think he actually was. So big ask.
Alex?
Yeah, I think I don't think anybody can question what Scotty's saying. You've got to have reservations because it's gone so wrong, especially when we last summer effectively stood still, which is a step back in football. So yeah, you can't really have questions of that. I have less reservations, but I'm of the thought that he right now if it's 50-50 or whatever between now and the end of the season, he has to prove why he deserves a shout for next season. Because if he can't prove it then why are we giving him a window to rebuild and then the start of next season? Because then we could find ourselves in January in the same situation looking for a new rebuild, and it catches up to you. So that's why you have to implement it now, and he has to show what he can do and why he deserves a so-called rebuild, which is going to happen, and it's needed no matter who's there. Ross Wilson is a bit different. He's not got a window to sign players in, and his last couple have been ineffective. Albeit Ramsey's come in, the vast majority of players that have come in. I mean, Zukowski's he's not even touched first team football apart from a couple of Scottish Cup performances. It's not good enough, frankly, to put it. And so yeah, time is definitely running out for him, and Gio too. But I have a little bit more hope for Gio than I do Ross.
I think you've got to remember Ross Wilson probably does have final say, because the way football is with most clubs, the manager's not really a manager anymore, it's more a coach. You've got director of football who brings players in, signs players, offers contracts. The managers just do stuff on the training field and pick the team. That's what happens at most teams. And maybe Gerrard was a wee bit different, but he come out with some comments before he left about not having enough money to bring in new players. So I don't know if does Gio have a lot of say in the signings, does Ross Wilson, but if Gio does leave, then surely Ross Wilson needs to be questioned, because he's partly to blame because majority of the players are signed is off his back. But also, if Gio does go, do we trust the board to bring in another appointment? It's going to be any better because they brought in Pedro. I think it was Dave. I could be wrong here. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was it not just Dave King that appointed Gerrard? Well, he's the one that wanted Gerrard, and that's how we got him. But before that, did Robinson and somebody else not appoint Pedro? And look what happened there. So we're going to have to be careful as well who we do bring in, and the money it's going to cost to get rid of the manager and the staff. But that shouldn't have been an excuse not to get rid of them. But I'm just saying, I just don't want it to go back away because it came forward quite a lot. I just wanted to start getting back away, and it's going to be a difficult period.
I made this point on the last pod that I was on, and it really is food for thought, and it's almost stuck in my head ever since. When considering whether these guys are up for the job, just remember that in January they chose to bring back Cedric Itten over signing another striker, and look where we are now.
That's my next point was. That's exactly what I was going to say, Scotty. So thank you for bringing that up.
Sorry about that.
No, it's all good. It's all good. All I was going to go was, managers have that point that they play somebody just to show the board and the people up above that he's really shit and he's not good enough to be here. So what are you doing? For me, I'm thinking Gio's probably gone. Maybe this might not have happened. For me, he might have gone and said, "Listen, we've only got Morelos. Roof is injury prone. We know what Scotty thinks of him. Sakala isn't a good footballer, and that's it. So can you maybe have a look at a striker?" And they've gone, well, rather than spend a few quids, and bring somebody in, let's just get Cedric Itten back. And both of the choices, and it's not worked because if it's not made us any thicker up top. It's not given us any more options because he's clearly not good enough, and not working out.
Is that not one of the points Gerrard made? But he wanted to bring in another striker, and he told him, unless he sold someone, we couldn't bring anybody in. I don't know.
I agree. We needed more strikers. I mean, I wasn't fully on board with Kevin Nisbet, so to speak, but we did need more options up top, and we're still lacking.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Kevin Nisbet would be better than the current options that we got with Morelos injured. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, would have been nice.
Mm-hmm. So, as I say, we're live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. If you can give us a like on all those socials, that would be grand. And keep up to date on all news with the Rabble. So, we move on to the season ticket renewals. And Scott Kerr, yours come in as well.
Yep.
Now, if I remember, this has come in a lot earlier than last year, hasn't it?
It's all run about end of April, isn't it? I think it might come in slightly early, but it's all round about this mark. They like for people to renew it before the season finishes, don't they? I think last season when they came out, everybody probably renewed straight away. I'm holding off at this moment in time because I'm looking for a move, but I don't know. I think you're going to renew anyway. It doesn't matter what they win or what they don't win. You're going to renew. Even if we don't win anything this season, you're going to renew. If you win something, you're still going to renew. It's just you're renewing a bad mood. That's the only difference.
I think tactically the way they've seen it is if Rangers were to have an absolute failure of a week this week, they're going to think if they put that tweet out next week, or the renewals out next week, then they're getting abuse for it now, but they're going to get a hell of a lot of more abuse. So they're trying to get people to renew, people to kind of get on side before the two massive games, which no matter what way you look at it, is a good move from business point of view, but they should have maybe a little bit more faith in our team.
Just going back to the point there about strikers, how much did Hibs actually want from Nisbet is what CGM's asking. It's all very well.
I think it was 3.5. We were looking for 3.5, 4.
The argument isn't signing Kevin Nisbet. It's the argument that he wanted a striker and couldn't get the striker. Regardless of who that striker was. What he did, he identified that there was a weakness and a shortfall in the squad, and he wanted to rectify that. And the board didn't back him. The board have not taken advice of the manager who sees the playing squad day in, day out. And that is the reason why Morales is now injured. And it's the reason why our season has been stop-start and it has collapsed. Because when we identify weaknesses, that gap needs to be plugged, and they haven't. And I can guarantee you it's not just one position that happened for.
100%. It's the same reason players are dead on their feet game in, game out, because he doesn't.
100%.
Gio doesn't trust the whole squad, because there are so many fringe players that aren't good enough. He's forced to play players game in, game out, and they're knackered and aren't half the players that they can be.
But Morales' injury was going to happen regardless of whether he was in Colombia or here, because it's a muscle injury, it's a fatigue injury. That was always going to happen. It was inevitable. So bear that in mind, and it's not a particularly pleasant time to have a discussion on this topic. Anyway, I'll try and be cheery. I'll smile again.
So, as I say, we'll go back on the season tickets, Alex. And as you said quite rightly, that if they did this tweet in a week's time, it wouldn't have been received very well, would it?
Well, it all kind of hangs on how this week goes. If this week goes really, really well, next week they're probably going to see a few more. There's going to be people hanging off to see how this week goes anyway. Next week they might have seen a few more. But likewise, had it gone the other way, putting it out, people would have said, you've got a very, very redneck putting this out now. And then it's, how long do you wait? Because when you go too quiet and you wait too long, people are going to complain again. So I think it's what, a 5% increase as well for most anyway. It is roughly 5% increase on the tickets, which I'm not sure what it's like at other clubs, so I couldn't really comment.
Isn't the only person that's asked this, but who's got the rocking chair? But you, Scotty. Get some WD-40 on it.
If it's not the fucking walls, it's the chair.
There's I think that's Graham. Are we the fans partly to blame because we all raved about your rights and other squad players?
Absolutely fucking not, my friend. I did not rave about him. You all did, not me.
But even if we did, shouldn't the people behind the scenes be the ones that are identifying the top quality players and making the players, that are raveable about? There's not really, the fans are you're gonna rave about players. We have a very reactionary fan base. Most fan bases do these days, but we have a very reactionary fan base. If somebody has a really good game, even if it comes against Annan, all of a sudden we're saying Zukowski's a brilliant player and he's going to be doing this, that, and the next thing. We haven't seen him since. He played well, but again, it was Annan. You can only beat what's in front of you, but it was still Annan, and we haven't seen him since, which kind of gives you doubts. That shouldn't be up to us. We shouldn't be taking the blame because of players. We've said that they're quite good, and if that's a mentality problem with them, then they should be nowhere near this club. If they're thinking they're better than they are as well, again, it doesn't work for me.
I think, Alex, when the players play well in a game, we all jump on the bandwagon at times to say this guy's tremendous, he's better than I thought, stuff like that. And it's just being a fan of someone that plays well, scores a hat-trick, you think he's the best thing. If he goes a couple of games without scoring or he's awful, we start to criticise. Like Aribo was getting criticised recently and he scored against St Mirren. It was like, there's the Joe back, and it's like he's not kicked the ball since he came back for Africa Cup of Nations, probably because he's been dead. We've spoken about that fatigue and other stuff, but against St Mirren he looked I'm not saying he looked really good, but he looked back to his old self. But I think the board and maybe ourselves, even though it's not the fans to blame, but I think it started the season when Celtic started, they were losing games, they were conceding a lot of goals. We were all laughing about the Japanese players, about Ange, stuff like that. And I think the board maybe bought into that and thought they're going to win the league anyway, and they didn't have to think they're going to have to spend money, because everybody was laughing at Celtic, and it's now done a 360. They've got a team who they know what they're doing, and basically we don't.
Is that a fair comment, Scotty?
Almost. I wasn't ranting and raving about the game on Sunday. Again, I'm the only one that I was not absolutely fucking not. I was not getting excited about that. I was not getting excited about Roof scoring a hat trick.
I was going to say I heard you had a party for Roof's third goal, no?
He painted his walls for Aribo going scoring a goal.
The guy's on fucking Instagram as if he's Dennis Law. What the fuck's he doing? The guy hasn't turned up in any single big fucking game this season. He scores 3 goals against. I can't even remember who we were playing, and he's on Instagram as if he's like, check me out. All I need is the service, mate. You've had the fucking service. You just didn't work hard enough. Anyway, what was the original point?
You were going mad singing the new Cameroon song.
I don't know what that is. What was the original point? I can't remember.
I said maybe we bought in. Maybe we bought in. The club maybe bought into this era how Celtic had a really bad start and the players and stuff, and thought we were going to win the league anyway.
But yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. And they rested on the laurels. They thought, we could get away with this. We could do this on the cheap, and it's come back to bite them on the arse. And it's entirely our own fault because the way the places that we have dropped points are completely avoidable. We're 6 points behind, and we've drawn 7 games, max 4, and we should be level pegging. Worst case scenario. And the last Old Firm game, going back to that, Celtic didn't have to do anything to beat us. They didn't look particularly great. They didn't look particularly organised, but they just ran around a bit, and they just ran around hard and covered areas of the pitch, and we decided to chuck the towel in really, really early in terms of effort, quality, invention. That's what cost us. Not the fact that we didn't take our chances, because we had loads of chances. But when the mentality is not there and the focus is not there, it doesn't matter how many chances you have, you're not scoring. And the fact that mentality and focus wasn't there for the defending says it all. So, guys, the warning sign's there, and I am being overly negative, but I'm just completely pissed off with the fact that we've fucked this season, because all season long we've been saying, yeah, we've been shit, but we'll still win the league. Well, we fucking haven't. Yeah. And we won't. I only got ourselves to play. Anyway.
No,
back smiling.
Alex was going to chime in there.
No, I've seen a comment that was making me laugh there from Alex Craig about. I had to double check myself on Scotty's screen, but it's quite a funny comment. But yeah,
this is a fair point. I'll take it to you.
It's a globe, man. Have you not seen the world? It looks like that.
We've got to be realistic. We're all gutted the way the league has gone. We can't allow any panic decisions. The financial stability of the club is paramount.
Yeah, but that can come. Yes, no panic decisions. Yes, but success has to come along, and success, brings you financial benefits. We can't afford to stand still or take a step backwards like we did. We should have learned this lesson, because they did it the season before. And they tried to go on the cheap and bring in players that, were from different leagues in Europe, and they tried to bring it in a little bit cheaper than they would if they'd gone for, like this season. They've backed their manager, Ange Postecoglou. They've brought players from where he was before, and they've spent a bit more on them. I mean, even in January, on the first day of January, they were announcing like £15 million worth of players. So, and we've just not touched that. Yeah, financially, you have to dig into your pocket so that we will get the benefits later on. And if we don't, we'll be. Sorry, go on.
On the flip side, that Alec, if they didn't win the league, they'd be in trouble because of the money they've spent. Because they've still got a lot of players sitting doing nothing.
They would.
Even balling goalies still there. So they've got a lot of players sitting doing nothing.
Yeah, they would, but they went. They've got a bit of money in the bank from the last couple of seasons where they've not spent. They went and they went. Yeah, let's go for it, and they backed their manager. Yes, they took a massive risk, but they do have now assets that they can sell.
Is there a wage bill not double others?
Yeah.
So that's a big gamble.
Apart from Hitate, who started blistering, I don't think they've actually got that many assets.
They've not got an Edward and a Tierney anymore that they can sell for millions.
No. What's his name? Kyogo. He's what, 27, 28? I don't think
he's injury prone, isn't he?
Yeah, he's injury prone. He's
that too. Apart from Hitate, that's all they've got. I don't think they've actually spent that wisely, but what they have done is brought in players that could do a job now. And they started quick because they're halfway through the season. If you look at them now, they're dipping quite drastically. I mean, I still don't think they're a particularly great team, but what they've done right. Whereas
they attack Scotty and get the goals. That's what they do.
Oh, it's so frustrating because I don't understand why we do it. We've got Captain Boring in the dugout, just like, oh no, keep the 0. Oh, fuck off.
He's getting a lot of this, Scotty. Sorry.
I mean, I tell you what, if we win the league, win the Europa League, or win the Scottish Cup, I will sing the chant, even if he doesn't even play.
There you go.
Actually, no. If he scores, he has to score.
Oh, he has to score, right? Yeah.
Oh,
I'm safe.
So
Any big game, he doesn't turn up. It's not a problem.
how many goals does he need to score in the rest of the season for a wee Kmart roof tattoo? And trophies as well. You can add the trophy done.
Yeah, if we win the league, I'll get a tattoo of Kemar Roof holding the trophy. There you go.
You heard it here, folks.
I hope you're listening, Kmart.
He's only wee.
So we'll look ahead to Thursday. Now, I'll read out the team that we played last Thursday. It was McGregor, Tavernier, Goldson, Balogun, Bassi, Jack, Lundstrom, Kamara, Kent, Arfield, Sakala. So, Scott Kerr, what do we have to do to arrest this tie and get a win on this Thursday night?
score some goals, Brian. I think the first thing we have to do is put Fashion in the bench, because to me he's not good enough. And we basically have to go and play more intensity and attack. We're too slow, we're too lethargic, everything's dead. Just let's pass it to the side or pass it back. And that's how I like Ramsey. And a lot of people haven't they jumped in the Ramsey bandwagon, which I do appreciate, but I like Ramsey because he wants to pass the ball forward. He wants to take a risk and play the ball forward, even if it doesn't come off. He's willing to take that risk, whereas some of the players aren't. They're happy going sideways or backwards and just recycling. And it's fine if you're up 4-0, but see if you're chasing a game at times, it's dead frustrating and pointless.
Scotty, what personnel changes do we have to make in order to win this game? Because we can't obviously go with the same team.
No. Is Jack going to be available?
From what I believe.
Sure.
Well, he didn't play on Sunday, but that could be having Thursday in mind.
No, what Gio said was it was just too soon for him and Bassi. Sunday came just too soon. That's what he said anyway.
Okay.
I'd be tempted to play Jack and Davis is almost like a holding two, and Ramsey further forward. Ramsey's running off the ball. He's superb. And Davis is, out of the whole of the squad, probably the most likely to be able to pick him out with a direct forward pass. Play the two. My concern is having Ramsey and Davis in there. They're not exactly the quickest, but they do have the positional awareness, so they can get away with it. But this Braga team are youthful, quick, energetic, hungry. So they could equally cause as many problems getting around the park and in the pitch. I was actually quite impressed, I'm not going to say this too loud, by Barisic and Barisic's performance. What he actually brings as a head of Bassi is discipline and shape, particularly with the back line. And I think we actually need that experience in Europe, as much as I love Bassi. That said, with Bassi, the way that Bassi brings the ball out from the back and being left-footed, he, at centre-back, and I don't know Balogun's status injury-wise, perhaps would also give us a bit of balance. Bassi at centre-back, obviously, he can be a bit naive in terms of his positioning. Goldson as well, what his status is. Goldson, Tab, absolutely no-brainers on the team sheet. Going forward, you're looking at, you've got to get the best out of the trusty players. So you would need in Kent, Aribo, Roof to turn up and hopefully get the job done. But aside from that, looking at the bench, we're starting to look a bit thin, particularly in terms of quality. The worry is as well, and I actually had this worry pre-Old Firm game, that our team is very, very predictable to pick. And if we can name the team, so can they.
Yeah.
And I think that's also part of the problem.
Are you feeling the same, Alec? Are you seeing wholesale changes or?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad to see, when he came on last Thursday, it was a bit of a surprise for me, but I was actually glad to see it, and I thought he was quite good when he came on Barisic. So yeah, I would be liking him to play. He's just, he's got a bit more experience than Bassi, and overall his in terms of his end product is a lot better. His crossing, etc. That's something that Bassi still needs to work on. And Barisic just has a bit more of that in the ability. Again, like Scotty says, I don't know what the crack with Balogun and our centre backs are. So maybe Bassi will slot in there. Goldson, Tavernier, and then just Ramsey if Jack's fit. I mean, and again off his unfortunate circumstances that he has to come onto the pitch against St Mirren, but Davis, he looks fresh for somebody that's not been playing for a long time. So I would want him at least involved because he can have an impact, and he's the guy that can take, he's a risk taker from midfield, somebody who will try and play the dangerous ball, and it'll come off because he's got the ability. So, again, the front three's probably going to be on. I mean, Kent has to play Roof, and then it's probably going to end up being. I don't want it to be Arfield.
No.
He was a missing jersey last week, so I'd have to choose. I'd have to choose
Aribo
over him. Yes, Aribo actually. Yeah, Aribo.
We're not going to say it's not going to be Sakala, is it?
Is it?
No. For the I don't know what it is, but for the sake of
He's
pace,
shit, mate.
yeah, I know. No, I know he is. No, but I'm trying to. But for the sake of pace, Gio seems to like him. In European, I mean, he played him through the middle last week anyway, which didn't work
But his pace
whatsoever.
doesn't get him anywhere.
Yeah, well, it gets him somewhere. He just leaves the ball behind.
Point him, he runs. He doesn't do it himself. He just runs away. He's pointing away his face.
Like one of those toys you wind up and it just lets go.
Aye.
Yeah. And
then he smiles.
And he could be at the byline and he'll have a crack at goal as well when there's an easier option to cut it back. He just doesn't. He's not got a footballing brain on him. His legs are too quick for his head.
Basically, reminds me of Didi Agat. He was the same. He could run all day, but he couldn't do nothing. And his end product was poor.
I don't think I can go through another 90 minutes of Coisty doing his nut going. Why is he not spinning and turning? Why is he not? We know. We can see. It's frustrating us all.
Yeah.
Think you might throw in a gamble and maybe start right or Diallo?
Nah, I think there'll be options on coming on.
Oh, like you said, Gio's too predictable. See, you got to remember, Gio didn't make a sub against St Johnstone. He played Morelos against Dundee when he didn't really have to play him. So these games, like you say, Scott, is catching up on Rangers players and it's catching up on him.
Yeah. Now,
how dare you question Gio's method about not making subs?
Listen, my method with Gio is if Gio never played for Rangers, he'll never be Rangers manager. But that's just my opinion.
Aye, well, it seems to be brushed over the way he left as well.
So there's been a lot of positivity about Barisic, Scotty, since Sunday. Maybe not from yourself, but a lot of people. And
Hold on. I named him in my team.
Oh, you named him in your team?
Yeah, I like Borna. I don't slag Borna, right, Alex?
No, that's right. We always stuck up for Borna.
Yeah. Well, Walter Zenga says, I feel Barisic needs to play on Thursday because Kuto had the freedom of the right-hand side the whole game, and Bassi never stepped the other way the whole game. Borna is a better attacking outlet.
Borna is a better attacking outlet, but Bassi's catching up, and Bassi is very skillful, and I think long term it's still Bassi's shirt to lose. But I think tactically, Borna, as I said, gives us that discipline. But defensively, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure if I can, if that boy gets out and watch Borna backtrack 10 yards away, doing that little shuffle backwards towards goal for 90 fucking minutes. Oh my god! No. So we'll leave that one. So what makes a really good point is I completely forgot about Lundstrom.
He took his knock, so you don't know how that's going to go because he took the knock on St Mirren, versus St Mirren, sorry.
Yeah, so we still don't update on that.
Yeah, it seems to be, you're kind of, for ones like that, you're kind of waiting for tomorrow and, fingers and toes crossed.
That's what you were saying, Scotty. His crossing's so much better than Bassey, it's not even comparable, is it?
Well, that's last season. This season he's been crap, but hopefully he's had a bit of a break. Because I think we were saying while Barisic was number one, and I apologise for the squeaky chair there again, that Barisic looked like he was running in treacle. He looked like he was carrying something, like an injury had almost affected his calves or something that really held him back. But I didn't see that on Sunday. So I'm hopeful the interim period, maybe he's been working on his muscles running technique or something. I don't know how technical these guys get. Has got him sorted and we can get him back firing just in time for a strong finish, because make no bones about it, our strengths are definitely getting Borna and Tav forward. Now, if we can find a system to make sure that we get threat from both flanks, together with guys like Aribo, Ramsey and Kent going forward, hopefully it doesn't matter who's in the box on the end of them, because it should be bread and butter. They should just be like shelling peas, get the goals in.
I think this is Martin, but I'm not sure. As we're getting towards the end of the season, is there anything you'd like us to try that is different from what we already do? Different shows, extra content within our shows? Anybody's got any ideas they would like to fling in the comments? Please do. I'm sure Martin will take them up on those suggestions. Oh, hold on. And also, we have a decision to make regarding the pod. An announcement will be made at the end of the season. There we go.
Anyone?
I think
I haven't got a fucking clue what that means.
It'll be somewhere along the lines of, Scott, if you don't get the wallpaper back, you've got to go.
I think for the fact that I have no idea what that's all about, that alludes to that very point. It's nice knowing you guys.
Scotty too hot, he was a darts player.
I don't get that.
He is a darts player.
He's a wrestler as well.
Yeah.
Was he a wrestler?
Oh, all right. Definitely a darts player. Guess, but no. So, Alex, are you?
Someone was also asking how Gio left.
Yes, come on then.
Does anyone remember the circumstances? Basically,
before my time,
pretended to be injured for a couple of months and then got his move to Arsenal. Didn't fucking kick a ball. Fucking people forget that. Never mind. Carry on. Shite bag. Are you
shite bag? Are you agreeing that Bassey will play on Thursday night instead of Bassey, even though Bassey's been in pretty decent form?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Yeah, Barisic will play over Bassey, and maybe Bassey might, like I said, Bassey might play in the middle, depending on Balogun's fitness, and obviously Hilander's not in European squads. Depending on Bassey's fitness, etc. Because obviously he was missing from Sunday. It could be a wee bench, but I'd expect him to be on the bench at least for Leon King, because he looked pretty assured when he came on against St Mirren. Albeit a much bigger step up, and you don't throw him straight in these games.
One thing Leon King done, Alec, was when he got the ball, but he was looking to pass through middle or pass up top, where some of the centre backs don't want to do that.
No, I thought he was actually, he didn't look out of place whatsoever. I
thought he was really good. I thought he was really good.
I thought he was good.
Yeah,
very comfortable on the ball, didn't he?
Yeah, he had that that bit of confidence, and he's involved in Aribo's goal with the cross play, with some switch by him as well.
Yeah. And the first thing if Bassey's fit, I'd play Bassey before Balogun, because to me Balogun's a bomb scale, but he's always liable for a mistake, man.
Correct.
Yeah, I agree.
Nothing more to add to that, Scotty. Just bomb scare in the end of.
No, I've always said it. Always said it. He has some good games, but he scares the living shit out of me.
You seen it in the first leg, didn't you, over there? Don't know what he was doing for the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
yeah. Sometimes he looks supremely composed, and then the other time it's like he remembers that he's a centre back and he shits himself, and he's like, fuck.
I will certainly say Leon King. Well, if Bassey isn't fit, you play Leon because the boys.
Which one?
Leon King. You play him if Bassey and Balogun both aren't ready for Thursday.
I wouldn't want to play Leon King, but
Yeah.
I would be comfortable if he played. Now the fear is that we are playing a step up, one step up, about 5 steps up, 6 steps up from St Mirren, and we're playing against technically fast superior, and as you alluded to, comparing to Sakala, like guys with brains.
Yeah.
If they're playing against an 18-year-old kid, no matter how good he is, they'll kill him which way, what way. Which for Leon will be an absolutely fantastic test, but it's probably a little test. That's too early. I'd rather you play against Celtic than Braga, to be honest.
The thing about Leon King, but Scott, he would play the game with any fear. He would play the game just like he plays like the normal game of football. Whereas you've got older guys like Balogun who might think about, I don't want to make a mistake here, and that's where he makes a mistake, just because he maybe knows he's not as good as he used to be. Whereas Leon would come in with no fear and just play his normal game. So I think the game would actually suit him better.
That's what I like about guys like Leon King and Lowry. That's why I say I'd be comfortable if they play. I just wouldn't want to unless we had to. But then again, that's exactly how you get the emergence of these young players, because all of a sudden you have to throw them in and they prove themselves, and then all of a sudden you realise we do have a player on our hands and he can be trusted and we can play him, and that's how they get experience. But, you know, yeah, I mean, we're quite kind of stuck and limited for options, which again, we go back to January and we fucking knew we'd be in this position. Mm-hmm. We knew it because we knew Helander cannot be relied upon. We knew Balogun is also subject to injuries, and we're relying constantly on Goldston to be able to play every single fucking game. What kind of planning is that?
Yeah,
I know. I think just on that point of Goldston, people underestimate that guy's worth.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Because whether they think he has a shit game here or there or whatever, no matter what he does, he is, he's there. He is always available, week in, week out. If he goes, and ultimately that's the way it's looking now because he's not signed a contract. If he goes, we don't have anybody else that can play that position at the moment, week in, week out. We don't have anybody else that does it as good as Goldston.
Not only that, but his bad games are a solid 6 out of 10.
He's our best. He's our best defender, our best centre back, without a doubt for me.
Oh, he's ridiculous.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And he'll make one miss kick of a clearance, and he might actually do it once a game, and occasionally he'll get punished. But it's 90 minutes of football, and if you count the amount of minutes that he plays, and people say, "Oh yeah, well Helander's the best centre back." Well, he's no fucking good. He's always injured. Balogun's sometimes injured, and this is the point. We knew that Helander's injury prone. We knew Balogun is also subject to injuries. So what? We're relying on Bassey, then going at centre back, who's a left back and he's a kid, who's now proved his experience. Same way chucked him in when we really shouldn't have had to or needed to. But then the concern at the same time is that our planning for next season is another centre back who's injured and Goldston's away. So what? We're left with
and Balogun's not been offered a new deal.
Well, Balogun's not been offered a new deal. So what? We're left with Helander, constantly injured. Suter, oh fuck me,
and Leon King
and all.
And Leon King.
Yeah.
Leon King and Lundstrom starting the first.
And when you play a player that's so young, so much, like we're gonna rely on him like Goldston. That's where we're having the issues we have just now, the fatigue, etc. That's where they get career long injuries. That's where they can come from, is when you're overplayed when you're younger. These guys are going to have to deal with these injuries and bouncing in and out of them for the rest of their career sometimes. And you don't want to overplay Leon King because he's got the ability to be something for us.
Mm-hmm. I think this all stems, from the summer and January, that we've flogged guys constantly in this league campaign, haven't we, Scott Kerr?
Yeah.
That, we've flogged Morelos, we've flogged Aribo, Goldson. You could argue, Patterson left because he wasn't getting games under, because of Tavernier. There's a lot of cases where the squad rotation could have been a lot better earlier in the season.
We've got a lot of players in the squad, Brian, but we've got a lot of players that don't offer much. We've got a lot of players who are overused because there's not really any in between. Because some of them, the manager thinks aren't good enough, and Gerrard thought that as well. But then some of them they're playing every week. I mean, Golson's missed 3 or 4 games in 4 seasons or something, which is phenomenal for a player that plays centre half because you're always in the thick of the action. There's other guys like Helander who, when he plays and he's consistent, he's good, but he's never in the park long enough to get a constant amount of games. Roof's been the same. There's been other players. Look at Aribo when he's overplayed. He looks tired at times, and we have to get a happy medium, and we're not getting that at the moment. So maybe this is a time to blood the kids, because Lowry get his chance with Hadji get injured. If Hadji might get injured, Lowry would never have got a game. So Hadji get injured and Lowry come in, and he doesn't look out of place, Alec Lowry. So he has to be one of them names, and he has to be in the squad next season, but he has to play more games, and he does actually sit on the bench because we can see what he offers. But so does other young guys coming through, but we can't blood too many, because blooding too many might not work. Maybe 3 at a push, and other guys in and out, maybe the bench, but we have to buy better. Not so much, we don't have to buy like expensive players, but we have to buy players who fit the system better than we've got at the moment.
Do you think that's a problem, Scotty, that there's just the fringe players just don't quite fit what Gio wants?
I just don't think they're good enough.
Well, that was really my second question.
Yeah.
So they're either A, not good enough, or B, they don't fit.
Both.
A good player can adapt. So I kind of get the argument that it doesn't really go to your strengths, but when you're a fringe player, for example, there's a reason why you're a fringe player, but you should still be good enough to come in and do a job.
Yeah.
And you should be able to train and adapt and be flexible. If you can't do that, either you're not clever enough to do that, or you're just not good enough. And it seems that we have too many passengers that kind of are happy to be here, don't feel the need to push themselves. They know that the first team probably aren't performing, and they'll get their chance and they'll come on and they'll play 20 minutes, and that's another appearance stat that they can chalk off that I play for Rangers, and then they'll disappear at the end of the contract. And that's kind of where I see quite a few of our fringe players, and it's through, I don't know, lazy recruitment, bad recruitment, or just hit and hope.
I think you have to look at Ross Wilson as well, but Brian, because he said it was at the start of the season, he said contracts will be dealt with.
Yeah, he did.
He never really done that, did he? I mean, Golson's never signed one. Even if he wasn't going to say, you say, take a year's deal, at least if he sell you, we get a bit of money back. But he never even done that. So
he said he was comfortable with it, wasn't he?
Yeah, he did. I don't know why, but he said that. Yeah, but even other players running out of contracts, and we probably should have sold maybe 1 or 2 last season, maybe more than that, because some of these players, I'm not saying they had their peak, but they maybe had to be us, and they were sellable, and we could maybe cashed in and brought other players in. But then if you do that, a lot of folks say, well, why did you sell him? Why did you sell him? We could have kept him. But I think last season a lot of them hit their Everest, and this season it's just been going down the other side.
I think that's pretty spot on, Alec, isn't it?
Yeah, that's even if the squad is, good enough, or the players are good enough, because they are, we've not got enough of a squad, but we have very good players. You still need freshness in and amongst the squad. You need fresh players every single year or season. You need to change it up. You need to tweak it that little bit, or else, like Scotty says, now we're in the position that we're far too predictable. Like the lineup is predictable. It's the same players, and yes, you can tweak the system, but having the same players in it people are going to find out their strengths over 40, 50 games a season, and when it's the exact same team, or a weakened version of the same team, 100 games later, then players are gonna work it out and have a lot of footage to look back on and say, yeah, that's their weak points. Let's work with that.
I just see some Brian Falsey in the comments made a good point. He said, under Gio, we don't really have a pattern of play. We don't have a system that we don't see. So what did we do? But I'm not saying this season we started under Steven Gerrard. We weren't great, but we had a kind of system. We had a pattern of play. I've not seen that since Gio's come in. I know he done okay, a good run of games when he first came in, but I've not seen that recently. And I think that if we see it to the players, are the players triggered into that as well, thinking, my God, where am I playing today? What am I doing today? Do they feel that as well? You don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
Ross Wilson has consistently underperformed. There's a myth about him being some sort of messiah with the certain sections of the support. The best players at the club are still Mark Allen signings. Scotty.
I don't think the Mark Allen signings. I think Mark Allen just got attributed to them. I think Mark Allen signings are guys like Jordan Jones, and look where he is. I think the opinion of Ross Wilson has changed dramatically this season, and particularly towards where we are now. And he'll need to, I don't know, like work hard in the summer or something. He'll pull something off, because do you know what we'd like to have seen is some form of planning. Like, we made a January signing in John Suter, but is that it? Is that the only? I mean, if we're shopping in the areas of free transfers, is that what we've done? Is there? I'm hoping there's plans afoot. I'm hoping there's still players to come in. So he'll be judged on that. And I've said before, and like I've just been reading some of the comments, and they're all telling me to smile, and I'm looking miserable. But I was happy before I came on this pod and I started talking about Rangers, and it's just left me really pissed off. I'm sorry, guys. It's really fucking pissed off. I should be looking forward to the second leg of Braga, but instead we're talking about mistakes after mistakes after mistakes. And we all saw it coming, and I just feel like we're sleepwalking into another one.
Yeah. Right, it's time for predictions time, so everybody get their predictions in. Now, the rule is, I think with Martin, is we need a scorer and a first goal scorer, not just a score, please. Because I can't remember who he claims is the serial offender, just giving a score and not a goal scorer. So we want the correct score and first goal scorer, please. So, Scott Kerr.
I'll go 3-1 and Kent.
3-1 in Kent. Is that 90 minutes?
I just say 3-1, Brian. You didn't ask me.
It could be extra time. It could be penalties. I don't know.
I could probably go extra
we
time.
don't know.
I'll probably say 3-1, but I might go extra time, because they're not the greatest side, but they're not a bad side, put it that way. And I like some of the players. I was watching last week. Some of the boys look quite talented, so I think it will be difficult, but I think we will go through 3-1.
Right, Scotty. Not froze again, is he? No.
Mr. Pessimist.
2-1.
Tav. Okay. Alec?
Yeah, I'll say I'll go 2-0 on Roof.
On fire?
He's just saying that to wind me up.
I'm going to go 2-0 and Haribo.
Okay.
I just think that I think if we get ourselves in order, they are a good team, and they doubled up on us with their fullbacks and wingers. But in the wide positions, but if we can defend well, which is a big ask this season apparently, but if we can defend well, we're way more than capable of shutting them out. So I'd like to think that we could get a clean sheet here.
So channel member Aldo is 3-1 with Roof first. Chris Stewart 3-0 and Lundstrom. RFC 56 3-1 and Roof. Sharpie 55 3-1 Tab, but a penalty, more specific. Unsurprisingly, the South Wales Loyal went with Ramsey's first goal scorer and 2-0. Tommy Boy 2-0 and penalty to Tav. Scott and Berlin 3-0 Roof.
That's some name, that.
I know. Barney 2-0 Tav penalty. Where are we? Channel member Davey 1642 2-1 after 90.
I think they will score, to be honest with you, 'cause I don't think we'll keep a clean sheet.
Jim Sloan 3-1 Kent. Only 4 home nations 2-0 Kent. Michael Sharon 2-1 90 minutes and Goldson with a late extra time late on. So
If a Roof scores at extra time 1 on Thursday, Scott will be chanting that in his living room or wherever he is at that time. The Roof is on fire.
The Green Man, surely.
I'll be the green man.
When the Green Man.
I'll video it. I'll video it because I ain't singing.
So Alec, are you confident going through, obviously? Or you're not confident?
I don't know what to expect. I really, really don't know what to expect, and I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I think I got asked last Thursday, and I just didn't know what to expect whatsoever. I'm not a massive Braga watcher. I watched them last week, and they didn't have to do much to beat us. We were pretty poor, so if it's anywhere near the same lineup, then the TV may as well not even be turned on in the first place. So.
I'm hoping that last week puts them into a false sense of security. And they would turn up and go, "Oh, these guys are pish," and we actually turn up for a change.
Scott, are you much as such, or are you quite confident? You've watched Braga, haven't you?
I've got a feeling we'll go through, but
won't make it easy.
I don't want to make it easy for ourselves, but I've got a feeling we'll go through tonight, and then Sunday we'll get beat. That's the way I feel about Rangers. I think we win a game, lose a game. Because there's no any consistency.
Yeah. Right, folks, we'll leave it there. But thank you for everybody in the comments. We'll be back on Thursday night with a reaction to the Rangers Braga versus Braga quarterfinal of the Europa League.
And the video of Scotty singing "Roof is on fire."
And maybe yes. And I think we're going to do a live preview on Sunday morning, and then the reaction to the Rangers Celtic Cup semi. So catch us up there, and we'll see you all very soon. Thank you.